Hello, everyone. It's good to have you on our podcast, Circle Direct. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode on special needs education. As you always know, I'm your host, Ifedayo Sutui, a pharmacist. We are here to give you all the information that is going to empower you on making better life choices. On today's program, we're having a very special guest, someone that has been in the educational space for over 20 years. We are so grateful that she was able to, take time out of a very busy schedule to, give us the information we need, especially for children with special needs. In this sphere of our nation, Nigeria, a lot of children that have special needs, children that have issues with their mental health, a lot of parents are having difficulties getting the necessary care these children need. One of the key things is that these children are part of the community. And if they can't get the basic training, these children will need to develop into citizens of the country that can even add value to the country. It will be to the detriment of the parents. So before I go further, I'm going to be introducing our guest, Mrs. Oyindamola. She's here to educate us on her own expertise as a special needs professional, her experience so far, and also the necessary tools that parents with such children would need to make sure that their children have better developmental outcome in life. So without much ado, I want to welcome Mrs. Oyindamola to the platform. Thank you so much for coming to our show. It's such a delight for you to have, choose to come and, share your knowledge with us. So before we speak further, please, can you just give us a background of who you are? Why did you start this journey and how the journey has been so far?
Okay, so my name is Oyindamola Olamide. Well, I've been in the educational space for over 20 years. So my first degree is actually in economics. It was at 200 level I realized that I'm supposed to be in the educational space. So I started different trainings in education just to empower me before I finished my degree in university. So then after my university degree, I had my PGD done. Then I went for my master's in education. Then in between, I also got trained in the UK, in the US on special needs, and then few courses here and there on special needs. And that has been it so far for me.
So there was something that we discussed, when I was having our chit chat before we started the program, that when did you know that economics was not the path you wanted to take?
Okay, so it was I'm at 200 level, so I was studying for my exams. Then I had my neighbor's children disturbing and all that, so I just called them into our flat. Come and sit down here and read. You guys are disturbing me. Then I found out that the SS1 girl and the primary 3 girl couldn't read. So I was shocked. Then I asked their mom, "Oh, your daughters can't read." And she said, "Yes, they're not reading like it was normal." So I'm like, "No, they should be able to read." So after my exams, I took it upon myself to teach them. And then within a month or two, they started reading. And there was just that voice deep down saying, "You're supposed to be in education." Because economics has been something I've always wanted to do from secondary school. So even when they're bringing different courses, I kept saying, I want economics. But at that time, that came strongly that even during the holiday, I had to go and look for a teaching job to be sure if I'm hearing right. And my husband said something that I'm not one of the luckiest people who knew what they wanted to do in life very early. And to the glory of God, I haven't had any reason to think otherwise. So it was from my 200 level I realized that I'm supposed to be in the educational space.
Okay. Now, one thing I want to just ask is that, it's one thing for you to teach children. I used to tell myself that people that own schools, you have to give them their crown. Because to even train your child is a task. Now you're having children from different walks of life, different parental backgrounds. So what I want to ask is that why did you now move, or what made you move from just teaching regular children to children with special needs?
Okay, so I don't know about other people, but I feel that there's a way God makes things easy for us. So when I started teaching, at that early years, when I just got into the educational space at 2003, I just found that I find myself gearing towards those children who really have issues. I didn't even know it was special needs. I didn't know the name. I just knew that you don't want to read. It's not possible. You have to read. You don't want to write. No, you must write. So I will just stay on their neck, stay on the parents' neck, just pushing, fighting, and then they improve. And that is usually the joy. So I find out that most times my head of school teacher, take her to Antoinda's class. Take her to Antoinda's class. Then when I left the school also, I find myself anywhere I go, I tell them, oh, if you have a child who has need, bring them to my class. And they make progress. I don't know how, but with a lot of dedication and God's grace, it has been successful. So it was in 2008 that I realized, okay, all these things actually have names. So when I went to the UK, I started hearing dyscalculia, dysgraphia. So I started picturing children. I'm like, so this one is wrong with this boy. Oh my God, And I found out that those are the only children I just wanted to teach. Even though I do well with regular children, but I don't have any reason not to be with this ones. So I remember when I told my mother, oh, I'm going to start a school. My mother was like, okay, let's do the regular school. I said, no, it's not the regular school. If I do the regular school, it's like I'm doing somebody else's job. This is what I think I've been called to do. And to the glory of God, we've been on it for 5 years and God has made it very easy for us.
Okay, in fact, there's something that I know that we are not here to diagnose cases because we are not in that professional space. But when you just mentioned that dyscalculia, dysgraphia. The reason I'm saying that is that I know that a lot of our viewers, especially for those that they are still in denial to the state of their children, do you know any sort of what do you call it, facility that is made available in Nigeria whereby they can get proper data? I'm still going to ask some other questions, but now that, because you said something, you said that when you now went for those courses, that was when you were able to identify that, okay, so this particular child, that was what was wrong with the child. So is there any facility in Nigeria or organization that can help?
I don't want to mention names so that it's not like
promoting.
They paid me.
Okay. Yeah.
So there are a lot of special needs centers who do assessments and all that. So I'm sure if they Google and all that, they will find names. So who do assessment and let parents know, okay, this is what your child is going through. And then with information online these days, even some parents already have an idea. They're just living in the night that, God forbid, it can't be. Because I'm sure if you Google, oh, my child is not doing well in maths, what do you think? The Google probably bring, oh, it is called dyscalculia, and these are the things, these are the steps, So there are a lot of places in Nigeria that parents can take their children to assess, for an assessment, yes.
So you told us that you have a school.
Yes.
And of course, I know that a lot of viewers want to know the name of your school, but you want to keep that private for now. But take us on the journey from when you left paid employment to starting your school. And what were the challenges you faced? Because I know that, like I said earlier, you even taking there are some memes you've seen online that when parents are taking their children homework, it's like a Dracula or a dinosaur is training a child. Talk less of now having a school that children are being trained in education. Now talking about a school that is for children with special needs. So can you take us on the journey when you were going to start? The journey so far, the students, then the challenges you faced.
Okay, so when we're going to start off, so we started off with a school. So the school gave us space. So we started with a child coming in.
When you mean you started with the school, did it mean that you partnered with the school?
Yes, because we already had families who already knew me from taking their children for years, and then when they also meet other people with children with special needs, so they call me, they recommend me. So eventually we got a space to be able to accommodate the children better. So, and because I already had the training, we need the kind of facility, we need the kind of resources to put in place. We did that. But the major issue was staffing. Getting the right people, with the right passion to really, but some people are just looking for a job, not really passionate about working with these children. Even some of them don't know what it entails to work with special needs children. They'll just say, I can do it, until they get there before they find out that. So even with all the trainings, because we send them on trainings, online trainings, physical trainings, at the end of the day, it's like they haven't gone on training. So you keep wondering, okay, so what's happening here? So I think so far we haven't had issues with parents. It has always been staffing. Because the parent, we ensure we carry them along. This is what we want to do with your child. And you also have to support us. You have to also do it at home. We are very high on discipline. We are not a school that will tell you, oh, we will not discipline your child, or we will accept this. So the parents already know from the word go that this child, even some parents call us from home, their child should do anything. Like, see what this child did. So sometimes I'm thinking, okay, when the child comes tomorrow, how do I connect this? The child won't remember, won't be able to link. But when the child, I will still talk about it. Yesterday you did this at home. Don't try it again. I will just make sure I say something, because I know that they actually need someone to talk to.
Yes.
So our school is like a family school. It's like a family school. We can call, we can make report. But of course, we are getting better in staffing. We are getting better staff as we let go of some people. We are getting better people coming in. And so far, it has been rewarding and challenging at the same time.
Okay. Now, one thing that I realized, especially in this our space, especially in Nigeria, is that a lot of times we parents or individuals, when they see someone that is attributing some certain level of mental issues. When I mean mental, I mean that maybe they might be absent-minded, they are not relating, or their cognitive abilities is a bit depressed. They just assume that person might be a slow learner, or maybe the person, or for instance, now we were living in Ogun State before, and in that place it was more of a rural, upcoming area, and a lot of the children there, when they have a little bit of challenge in school, the parents will just say, let him go and work with the mechanic, or let him go to go and train in the carpenter. Have you ever had parents, even parents that you just assess and they are already giving up on the child? And because the reason I'm saying that is I want to look at what are the misconceptions people have with training children with special needs. Some feel that children with special needs, there's no space in the classroom for them. They should just they should go on vocational courses. They should go and learn sewing, or they should go and learn one training that they can never, become, like you said, when we're having our discussion, you were telling me that you are seeing some that are going to be doctors. And in fact, that thing blew my mind. That means that these children they are unique children, just like every child. It's just maybe the way they correspond with every other person might be different. So what are the misconceptions you have seen, and how have you been able to correct it?
Okay, let me mention one of it for now. Is the fact that the special needs children cannot be academically inclined. Like they can't learn like the regular children will learn. They can't learn maths, they can't learn English. And we have seen that it is a lie. Because we have children that are doing well. Of course, they might not have the entire awareness of everything. But when you ask them questions, even we find that some special needs children are even more talented in math than the regular children. They are so good that you will be surprised at what they can do. So that's one of the misconceptions, that there's no need training them academically. So you see some parents even locking up the children at home. Like it's a waste of money sending them to school. I know that for some who will say, oh, if you go and do some vocational work, depends on the child's age. So if with early intervention, like from age 2, instead of living in denial, send your child to school. When a child is getting to 13, just ensure you send your child to the right school. Like I tell the parent, if you have not gotten to that school that is giving you value for your money, that you are seeing results, don't stop moving until you get to where you are going. Because you are the one who really knows what you really want for your child. So, but when you get to that level where you know, okay, everything has been done, this child is independent, but this academics is just not going, then you can now say you're looking for a vocational space. And you ensure that you are looking for that space that we also give that child the social skills. So you don't go and throw the child anywhere that is corrupt. The child won't find his or her mates. So sometimes I encourage parents that even if it's a secondary school, you can go to that secondary and say, okay, my child is not really here for the academics. My child is here for music. My child is here for vocational work. My child is here for arts. And then they're able to reduce the child's work, but the child is able to make friends. The child is going to have a birthday party. She will have friends to invite. Not that a 12-year-old is having a birthday party and then there are a lot of 5-year-olds there because of the kind of system we have created for that child. So that misconception is there. And then there's also this misconception of all the special needs children are the same. They're all not the same.
There are ranges.
There are ranges. There are different spectrum, different levels. So some are high functioning, some are functioning at a low level. But
sorry to cut you. When you say high functioning, what does that mean?
Okay, so the high functioning ones are those ones I'm saying. I'm already saying doctors. You know, everything you teach, they just take it. Even when they come into your office, they can read so many words, even without being taught. So it's just there, you know. And then we have those ones that they take time. But what is important is that for every progress we see is like a reward. We're excited for even we have children who cannot really walk. And the next thing we see them running. It's like, oh my God, you can now run, you can now do this. Children who cannot carry chair, now carrying chair. So, like I tell parents, let's try and measure our progress and look at that little thing that the child has achieved and be thankful for it. So, all the children are not the same. Just the same way with regular children. You can't compare, but let's just handle each child individually. So those are the two major misconceptions I've noticed so far.
Okay. Now, there's something I noticed about this, the autism spectrum disorder. They always mention verbal and non-verbal.
Okay.
Now, if a child is non-verbal, how do you communicate with them in school?
Okay, so like I tell the staff, I tell the parent, this talk, out of the entire communication is just about 10%. When you start talking, but your eye contact, your body language, the things you are showing the child, as long as the child can see, you know, takes about 90%. So
it's beyond the talking.
It's beyond the talking. Because sometimes you're even talking, before it gets to the child's ears, it's already noise. The child is not even hearing anything.
Even for a regular child.
Yes. So we have a non-verbal child who can identify 1 to 200. How was he able to do it? He didn't say it. But when you say touch 2, touch 20, touch 100, he's touching it. When you're trying to do addition with him, you hold his hand and then he counts the number of strokes. And then when he's counting them together, you say 1, then you stop counting. You keep moving his hand. When he gets to the end, he picks the correct answer. So I wouldn't say because the child is non-verbal, we don't teach the child. The answer is no. So we keep teaching, and we see the progress. You see the non-verbal children copy from the board. Even words. So sometimes I tell parents that our non-verbal children are reading. Which reading? You know, reading is verbal. But you see a non-verbal child doing like this. The child not do like this. That child is reading. So what we do is we will write out words. Then we say touch this, touch that, touch Monday. And the child is touching everything. So what we do is we use a lot of materials. It is individualized. We use materials. We create materials for every topic, everything we want to do. And then we use technology. So we have laptops for each child to show them videos on whatever topic we are teaching. And then we talk about it and ask them, okay, touch this. They will bring up worksheets to be sure that they're able to get 1 or 2 things. And we see the results.
Okay.
We see the results.
Now, you know that definitely every parent that brings their child to your school, they want progress.
Yes.
They want the child to advance. You know, they believe that they're bringing the child to an authority that knows how to work. I've ever had a case whereby you looked at the child and said, this is beyond redeemable. You can't help the situation, and you advise the parents to withdraw the child.
Okay, so I've never had a child like that, but I've had to advise. Not because we cannot take the child. So I had a 14-year-old. And then by the time we assess the 14-year-old, because we don't take teenagers in our school.
Oh, so the school is basically, is it primary school?
No, so we don't say it's primary school. But what we do is we work with the child's brain. So if the child is coming from a school and the child has been groomed, yes, we can take the child. But if the child hasn't really been to a school, hasn't been groomed, because we have younger children, we don't want anything that will influence. And then there's no point taking what you don't have capacity for. So by the time this child came, we found out that he couldn't even write much, he couldn't do addition. And then we looked at him, where he's coming from. He has been placed with age 8 children. So when he's having function like birthdays, he doesn't really have his mates attend. So a child like that, I advise the parent, okay, why don't you allow this child to go to secondary school and mix with children of his age so that he can understand, because this child is already growing, is almost going to change. He's going to have the guy, puberty and all of those things. He can't continue to do that with 7 and 8-year-olds. Before you know it, will start getting attracted to the teachers. Because that's another misconception.
Wow.
So they think that, especially these children, they don't have feelings. They don't have feelings. So sometimes when you even see them touch their private parts, because maybe suddenly they have an erection, they are thinking, what's happening to me? So they need to be in an environment where people will handle them according to their age when it comes to that. It's different from the brain. This is a physical thing. So, and it needs to be addressed. But we've never had a story about, a child, they bring in a child, we say, this is beyond us. Except we don't have facility for that child. We don't take children we don't have facility for. If you don't have enough resources to take care of this child, we won't take that child. There's no point taking parents' money and you're not going to give them the value. So we don't do that.
We're having the discussion on discipline. You told me that your school, you're not here to make friends. You're here to train them.
Yes.
So in terms of discipline, when you have children that have tantrums, every child in one way or the other, they throw tantrums. But for special needs children, sometimes people can have compassion. Like, okay, let me be a bit soft with them. What's your take on that?
Okay, so it all depends. So when the children come newly into our school, we observe. We observe how they get angry. Even some children, when they get angry, I'm like, no, this boy doesn't get angry. What happened? What's the situation? What did you take from him? What's the time? Is it time for food? Did you miss? So we want to check what the situation really is before we take action. Like, are you being naughty? So for some, it's food. So I'm like, you didn't look at the time. So the child even knows time better than you. And then they quickly give food and that's resolved. So we have some children, maybe wherever they are coming from, they can fling things and it's acceptable, And then when they come, they want to do that. So the first thing we do is, you don't do that. And then we change face. We're not smiling. We open our eyes really, because we are very careful. Like I tell the teachers, if this child flings something on another child, and this child gets injured, we'll be accountable to that child's parents too. Yes. So we cannot say because we want to pamper the child,
you're putting that child
at risk. Even the teacher is at risk. Because if the child flings chair on you, what happens? So if you don't caution the child, it doesn't mean that you're going to be beating the child. You take the chair away. You can isolate the child in one corner and tell the child, if you try it, and then you have to communicate with the parent, because that will be something that we have to work together. So if this child is doing this at home, please caution the child. Let the child know that it's not acceptable. You can't do it here. You can't do it anywhere else, so that we don't incur damages. I'm not sure if you saw this video that went viral one time, that a child was in a mall, flinging television, throwing everything down, And recently I saw it on TikTok. The person talking at the background saying, where are the parents? Is that the mom? Is that the dad? That's why I tell parents, they're going to ask, where are the parents at the end of the day? And it's not like you don't love your child, but there's something called tough love, which we have to add into our training. Yes, we love our children, because regular children understand eye contact. When you do your face, the child already understand, like, I'm already getting you. Especially children will even be asking, What's wrong? What happened to your eyes? So for those who they need higher level of discipline. So don't say, oh, he likes to fling things. But is that an acceptable behavior? The answer is no. So we caution. And if we need to tap the hand to say, no, you don't do that, we will do that. But there's no cane in the school because we also do not trust when people are angry.
Yes.
How far they will go. So there's no case. So I tell them, if you like, when your hand pains you, you will stop, But we have CCTV everywhere. So the teachers are aware. So even if you are telling me a story, as you are saying the story, I'm playing the CCTV to corroborate what you are saying with what the child has done, to measure what you have done. But when parents come, we also don't lie to the parents. We let the parent know we are not accepting this. Caution the child at home. And I also tell the parent, we are sharing these children. They are your children at home. Once they get to our gate, they become mine. So you can't help them carry their bags. You can't act like they are handicapped. They are strong. They are smart. Sometimes you will see these children in school. Their parents are shocked.
At the level
of discipline. Yes. And they know that it's not because they are afraid. Even by the time they get to the gate, they are already collecting their bag. Like, don't help me. But and I see some of them, as they are leaving the school, they are throwing the bag at their mom. I'm like, I caught you today. Take your bag. How can you do that? So I don't think any parent should take discipline away. You can't. And everything starts from when they're small. When you're not even sure if it is a need or not. When you think your child is still a regular child. Discipline. Let's start from there. So as they are growing, they know this is not acceptable. This is acceptable. So even in school, we ensure that the children after eating, they wash their plate. Really? Yes. So okay, wash your plate. So even now I have parents complaining, these children, they don't even help any other person to wash their plate at all. I say, we taught them to wash their own plates, not everybody's plates. So if you want them to wash your plate, you have to ask nicely. Yes. So some of them will say they will help them, they will not be grumbling. They will grumble because it's only their own, But we want them to have life skill, to be independent in life. We don't want them to become liability on their parents. Parents are not going to outlive their children. So what will become of these children when they are 20, when they are 30? Even one of the rules we have in our school, when the children turn 5, we start teaching them to clean up themselves. It's part of discipline. So discipline is not beating. Okay, clean up yourself. We monitor. Okay, so you clean it 3 times. Before you know it, they'll become independent in that area. And then the parents can also have peace of mind. But your children can microwave food, wash the plate, dress themselves. What's left, really? You know that it's just the academics. And then you are teaching them to cross the road. You are teaching them to look left and right. And what do they really need in life? That's what they actually require. Skills. Social skills. So basically, that's it for us. Wow. We don't like to parent, we are very nice. We'll pamper your child. We won't say that. We won't say that. We will encourage you to be disciplined at home. You're not supposed to watch television. They're not supposed to watch television. If they need to do anything, even like let child throw tantrum, take your remote away. Go and keep it somewhere. Don't say because the child kept screaming, and let the child scream. I tell the teachers, can't you live inside a noisy environment? Let the child make when the child is tired. Even sometimes the child is crying, me too, I'm crying. The next thing, the child will now pause and look at me. Me too, I'll do like this. And it will keep quiet. So
you're not the only one that can
throw tantrum. Since you don't want to keep quiet, And they are just. A child resumed this time into our school, sucking 2 fingers. And then we kept removing the hand, we put it back, like, you people, you will give up today. I said, this child doesn't know also. Next, I just assigned a teacher. He just said, you know what? Hold the 2 hands throughout the day and be chatting with her. She cried the whole day. But we held the hand the whole day. When it was time for food, she ate. When it was time for fruit, she ate. When it was time to play, they would bring her out, holding her hand, making her join. She cried. The following day, she didn't even bother to put the fingers. Even we kept monitoring her, going into different corners. And till today, even though she's still sucking a bit at home, she doesn't do it at all in school. At all. And that's discipline. But what happens is, which I understand, parents get tired. They've gone to work, they are back. So, just let me be, I understand, but we have to keep at it. We have to be consistent. We have to be consistent. We can't give up if we want to achieve it. The same thing with potty training for us. We work on it. I'll tell the parent, I don't want you to buy diaper again. Diaper is costing a lot of money. Add that money to other things. And then let's work together. It's discipline as well. So it's not just one area. It's the total area for us.
In fact, there are so many questions that I wanted to ask that you saw, because I was going to ask on how do you discipline the child in the classroom? How do you deal? But you've answered it. Then I was going to ask the role of systems and structures, because I remember the time my friend and I were discussing. She discovered the reason why she really wanted her son to go to boarding house. Okay. He's going to be a teenager, I think, before the end of this year, because she noticed that whenever he's at home from school, because she's not there to monitor his schoolwork, even our own basic children. At our regular kids, we have to tell them, you are back from school. Is this where you're supposed to put your bag? What about your food flask? All those things. So she noticed that is when she comes back at night, she starts noticing he hasn't done his assignment. He hasn't done this.
That's a lot.
So she just said, okay, let her put him in a boarding house where she knows that everything is regulated. Everything is monitored from the time he wakes up to the time he goes to bed. So for you too, in your school, what is the role of systems and structures? Sometimes there are some parents that, yes, they might not be able to afford the boarding school.
Yes.
But I believe that is how much you need something that you put your resources in. You might not have the boarding school fund, but you can still, by virtue of what you're going to tell us now, what are the systems and structures at least they must have at home, so that whatever achievement they've been able to have in school, it will not be defeated when they get home.
Yes. Okay, so system and system, structure, routine has a lot to play in the life of
routine, yes.
In the life of these children. And it shouldn't be only at school, even at home. There should be a time for them to wake up, a time to dress up, a time for breakfast, where to put your clothes, where you remove it. All that creates clear direction for these children. It helps them to focus. It helps learning activity to be more enjoyable for them. So, for example, in the school, every morning we have assembly. So when the children come, you see them drop their bag and they are back on the assembly without anybody telling them, come. They understand it. So the days we are not having assembly, like the days we have open house, the parents are around, you will see them as they are dropping their bag, they are trying to come out. We are the ones telling them, oh, go back into your class. And they are looking like, what's happening here? So they know that every Thursday we go for a walk in the estate. So you see them waiting. The day we try to cancel it, they can't understand. They can't understand it. So we say that with system, routine, they have clear path. It helps them. For example, the issue of washing of plates. You will hardly see our older children finish their food without washing their plates. They will pack up, they will wash. If they forget to wash spoon, they pick it up, they come back, they wash, they pack up. And that helps the children to have clear sense of direction. So for some parents, it might be visual clue that you paste, okay, at this time, this is it.
Okay.
That you paste. So for the non-verbal children, so they know, even for some classroom. So when it's time for fruit time, so maybe you put like a picture of fruits on the wall, you've arranged everything for the day. You can just tell a child, so what's the next thing? The child picks the fruit. That is out for the day. So they know. So by the time you want to even change anything for that day, you have to communicate it. And that's why we have a child, when it's time for food, and the child is trying to take extra 5 or 10 minutes, the child can start crying. And when the child starts crying, why are you crying? Why are you crying? I'm like, check your time.
They are used to the system.
They are used to the system. They are used to that. So that the same way as they love to come to school, when it is time, closing time, you'll see them carrying bag already, even if the parent try to gist, you see them dragging like, it's time. And the same way when they come in the morning, they run inside. So they know. So without putting a system in place, without giving the children consistent routine, we have not even done anything. Because that means that the children just wake up. It's just like us adults too. You don't have routine. You don't have anywhere to go. So that means that somebody can just come and meet you in the morning and say, follow me. So you just follow them. You won't be productive.
Yes.
You won't be productive. So system and routine has a whole lot to play. And it would be nice if parents, schools can put that in place for the children. Okay.
I mean, another thing we were discussing was that you told me, which I was very impressed with, that each child has a laptop.
Yes.
So I was going to ask, we're now in the age of AI,
yes.
So much tech is going on now. And, you're mentioning to me also that some of these children are very gifted in some areas. So what is the role of artificial intelligence in training? How has it helped you in your work as training these children? And is this something that you see even children with special needs becoming gifted in, especially in the area of coding, artificial intelligence, developing softwares in the computer engineering space?
Okay, so in the school, everyone, teachers, all the children, except, so if the child is still new, we won't encourage that you should bring laptop immediately. Because we want to train the child first. And there's internet in the school.
Okay.
Because we don't want anyone to complain about data. Oh, my data finished. So that's where the AI is very good, because the teacher can get instant data, instant information. With AI, if you put anything there to give you answer, at least some basic answer. Okay, this child is not doing this. How can I help this child? Those tools are there. There are apps to help speech, to develop speech, in children, that will read out to the children. So those tools are there for the teachers. And then when you talk about the children becoming software engineers, presently we do STEM in the school.
Ooh.
So we do a whole lot in the school. We do music, art, STEM, chess, because it's beyond academics. Let's see what other thing they can do. And they love STEM. They built helicopter. Now they are building animals. I think this term, yes.
Wow.
So I know that because, and they have the materials, they have the book, and they fix those things on their own. The other thing we have also equipped them with is, because they have laptop, with monitoring. The teachers have to monitor. So whatever topics they've been taught, the teacher will ask them to search on Google. So type this on Google and let's see what it will bring up. They will type, yes.
Wow.
They will type. Once you get to the level where, now we are moving you to primary curriculum, because it's not age now.
Yes.
But we can have a 12-year-old doing the primary curriculum if the child has been with us. So then they search, they see more videos, they see more information, and they're able to say those things. So we have a child who will tell you, the answer I wrote is what I saw on Google. And we're like, it's not a problem if we also see the same, right? So we have that in place for them. What we are also teaching them once we start that primary curriculum is CBT exams.
What's CBT?
That's the computer-based test exam. So because we know that, that's what JAM is doing, that's what some people are doing. We don't know where our children will find themselves. We don't want them to be behind, so to say. So we're like, CBT. What's CBT about? For them to pick their answers, right? To work within time given. So I remember that when this new set of children who got into primary 1 curriculum, their teacher said they won't be able to do it. I said, that's not my business. This is system.
Yes.
We can't change it because of your own children. You have to teach them. So what did she do? She created a lot of practice questions for them. And on their own system, they started practicing before the test, the main test. And now they are doing it conveniently. They will read and they will click their answers. So I told the teacher, can you see? It's about training. It's about training. And so I know that with technology, AI, the sky is the starting point for these children.
Wow. Can you give us one? I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of testimonies. I'm so sure about that. But can you give us one that strikes you as a child that, I mean, you yourself, you pat yourself at the back that no, this keeps you going anytime you see this child.
There are so many. There are so many, but let me tell you a recent one. So we have this boy. He's going to be 4 this month. So he joined us when he was 2. So when he joined us, he will not even respond to his name. These days, he responds now to his name. And then he wasn't really learning when he came. But we're always at it. We will not leave him alone because he just wants to be free. He wants to explore. He just wants to do what he like. You cannot do what you like because your parents did not pay for what you like. So we'll pick him, numbers, everything. Then I observed that this boy has started reading. And he's nonverbal. He's still nonverbal. So I told the mom, I said, do you know he reads? Which reading? You know, as parents now. Oh, you said, I mean, they leave me, And then one day he arranged 1 to 10 on his own, scattered. The numbers were scattered, and he arranged. And he's so good that if he cannot find a number, he will not continue. So we knew that he knew which number follows. He will arrange the small letter A to Z without any mistake. Then one day the mom showed us a video of him using the Scrabbles at home, forming words, ball, boat. The recent one the mom showed us was last month. The boy spelled, now I know my ABCs.
He spelt it.
Yes. Now correct, N-O-W, no, K-N-O, correct. The only thing that was missing was the next. E was missing from next. Maybe he didn't hear the air inside. But I trust my genius. He knew what he was doing. So now I know my ABCs. When I saw it, I was almost crying. So I told him, I told you can read. I told you can read. So he can identify sight words, 3-letter words. So one day I was having a meeting with the teachers. I'm talking about what happened in May. I was having meeting. I said, in the new session, I don't see us keeping this boy down. This boy is a genius. I just wish he can translate everything he knows into writing. Because he doesn't want to write. He doesn't want to write. And suddenly, I also pray for my children. I pray for my children. My husband knows them by name. They have to enter our prayer points every day. So, the teacher just told me, guess what? This boy is writing 1 to 5. He's writing out to K in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. We are not holding his hand. Of course, we'll be holding his hand to practice. He has refused. But he started doing them on his own. And he's just going to be 4. Now, this same May was when he started playing the piano. He was always running away. Even with the mom, I told mom, did you see your boy on my status? And you know what amazing thing? Because the music teacher used number to label the piano. When the boy when he wanted to press 3, he counted his fingers. Then he pressed. So impressive. That's one huge recent testimonies. I have a whole lot. God has been faithful. So, and I know that he's going to continue to do well. I know he's going to talk. I know he's going to talk. I know he's going to give African a new name.
Wow. I mean, I must commend you because it takes a lot. I mean, with children, you see parents, expectant parents, that they really want the best for their children. Have you ever seen parents whereby they are so discouraged that they themselves are even giving up on the child? And you have to now, it's one thing for a parent to bring the child. It's another thing for you to even encourage the parents, to keep pressing on. Have you ever seen parents that are already giving up and saying that it's like, I'm going to just call it a day with this child? And how, because the reason I'm asking this is that, parents also have their needs. How to encourage them not to give up on the child.
Okay, so I can't say I've really met parents giving up. But I've met parents asking, what else can we do? so that we're not tired.
Mm.
Where is this child going to go? So we just keep encouraging and tell them to count their blessings. There are worse cases than their present child. There are children going to worse cases, family going to worse cases. As long as there's life, there's hope. So we just give a lot of words of encouragement. But I think parent has been given that power, that resilience to keep pushing. So I've not really had a parent saying, "Well, I'm giving up on this child. I don't want to continue." No. But yes, parents saying, "What else can we do so that we're not tired, so that this child can make progress?" You know, being afraid, when will my child be able to express himself or herself? How will I know my child is being bullied? Those things are a lot of concerns for parents. But, you know, like I tell parents, because you cannot be there all the time, as long as you're not seeing injuries, marks, just be at peace. Go to the school, ask questions. People taking care of your child, ask questions, find out how he's doing, monitor your child. Is your child withdrawn? And then ask questions. Not fighting. Ask questions so that you will know. Because sometimes for some children, if you introduce something that they want to do, they might withdraw.
Yeah.
Yes. If they don't want to do it, I am insisting, they might withdraw. It might not because they are maltreating them. So it's just good to ask questions and investigate. And God will reward us.
Amen. So for our government, what do you think the government needs to? Because you can never tell which government official might be listening to this program. What do you think what initiatives do you think they need to start putting in place for children of such? You know, one of the key factors is the financing of such an education. It doesn't come cheap.
Yeah.
Some parents, as much as they want their children to have such access to such an education, they don't have the means. So
Yes.
which role do you think the government can play, especially in public schools?
Yeah, I think the government should fund and create more awareness in the public space. More awareness, fund trainings for educators, not educators, so that all teachers, everyone in the educational space can be aware of this thing, so that there's no segregation, discrimination, and then invest in resources to help develop these children. Like you said, so we have people in the less privileged area with special needs children.
Yes.
I've been thinking about it recently, like, I wish I had that funding where I can go to that kind of area and ask, okay, what child do you have with this need and all of that I can give support to, you know. So government needs to really look into that to be able to build a total society.
You know, funny enough, the last time we had a guest over that the child is actually autistic, what dropped in my mind was that if one could have like a fund, like a special fund, you know how they have scholarship for, you know, like this, maybe engineering students, scholarship for people that want to study a certain course. I feel that there should be scholarship for children that have special needs, that have a unique inclination to education.
Yes.
So your schools, they'll just have, they'll just under that scholarship, they'll have schools like yours that, we have this child from this area, but shows key interest in education.
Yeah.
Let's just sponsor the child. And when we start talking about things like this is where solutions will start coming up.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Ms. Oyedamola. It was such an amazing time, you know. Thank you so much for such, you know, valuable information you've shared with us today. We've come to the end of our program today on Circle Direct Podcast. So as we always say, please feel free to drop your comments. If you have any suggestions you want us to discuss on, please drop it in the comments. Subscribe to our channel and also share with your friends. We believe that everything you've heard today is of immense blessing to you and of immense benefit. We also hope that if you have any child that has a unique need, you know, don't isolate your child. Don't put your child in the back burner. These are gifts from God. If you have any need, there is always help. You've heard it from her. You are living in an IT space now. There's always a solution to your problem. So thank you once again. We do hope that you've had a very amazing time with us. We would want you to subscribe to our channel. As I said, do have an amazing day.